That brings us to the idea of risk management, which is where you ask yourself, how much should you bet on or invest in an event proportional to the total resources you have? Because you're trying to maximize the probability that you realize this amount of money that you're supposed to make, so your $5 on a coin flip, but you want to do it before you go broke, right? So you can imagine, even if you're making $5 every coin flip, because I'm giving you $20 for every $10 you lose, you wouldn't want to bet all the money you have in the world on one coin flip, because half the time you would just go broke. So we think about, what's our tolerance for going broke, and then we can do these calculations of what percentage of the total resources I have. For a poker player, that would be money. Can I bet and really make sure that I'm not going to go broke before I actually realize what I'm supposed to win? So I thought, if I'm going to talk about risk management, I should probably go myself talk to someone who I know is an expert in this. So I went and talked to this guy, Jeff Yass. He's the founder of Susquehanna International Group, which is a very large quantitative trading firm in financial markets. He's been doing this really successfully since the early 80s. So I figured, here's a guy who's been managing risk for, over 30 years, and he probably has a lot to say about it that would be very helpful as I'm coming to talk to you guys about risk. So I said, Jeff, I want to talk to you about risk, and I want to talk to you about risk management. And his response was, risk-mishk. And I thought, well, that's not very helpful. I really wasn't expecting him to say that. But he followed it with this. The biggest risk you have is that you have a losing strategy when you think you have a winning one. And I realized, oh, this guy really does know what he's talking about. And what he just said is actually very, very deep. Because here's the fundamental problem that we all face as we're out making decisions in this world. We live in an ambiguous world, right? Things are uncertain. Pretty much everything that we engage in has uncertainty. Even things you think aren't particularly uncertain. Even things you think don't really have risk. So I like to talk about, if you take a shower, there's actually quite a bit of risk in that. Not as much as there used to be, but when I was growing up, all the plumbing was connected. So if someone in the house flushed a toilet, scalding hot water would come down on you and burn you. But you didn't have any control over that, right? So there was a little bit of risk involved in that, right? Some things have a lot of risk involved in them, but everything has a little bit of risk involved in them. We live in this ambiguous world where there's kind of this combination of luck, right? Stuff that kind of happens that you don't have a lot of control over, and skill, things that you actually have control over, your own decision making, right? And here's the second part of the problem. We all want to think we're awesome. So here's this thing, right? We all want to think that we're great at what we do. We all want to think we're really good decision makers, and we're super smart, and we're smarter than other people, and we're going to succeed more than other people, and we have a winning strategy. Because we have this drive to constantly be updating our self-image in a positive way. Why do we do that? Well, actually, there's some great work that's been done in psychology on this. I highly recommend you look at the work of Roy Baumeister, who you might have heard. He does a lot of the work on willpower that's become very popular, about willpower being a muscle. But he also did some work in this particular area about why do we self-delude that we're awesome. And it turns out that we do better in the gene pool if we are actually delusional about how great we are. When we present a confident image to other people, we do better in terms of the mate that we can actually get. So this seems to be very wired in to the way we think. So we really always want to be avoiding any kind of negative update to our self-image and seeking out positive updates to our self-image.